What is up? I am Guy Swan. I am not a developer. I do not write code. But what I have been doing is building tons of what I refer to as tiny apps with AI. These have allowed me to automate my workflows, create standardized formatting for files and for my projects, basically build simple double-click macros for a lot of recurring tasks, and just tons of other little productivity tricks. So today, Hope and I are going to go through building our own to-do app with AI. So at the end of it, you're going to get something that looks like this. So let's get started. This is the first project by the devs who can't code, building a to-do app. So how do we want to build this to-do app? In the sense of like, what kind of scope of access do we want it to be? Do we just want it to be like a simple,
Can you
like,
repeat what you were saying?
GUI?
I cut out for the
For the
beginning.
to-do app is, for the to-do app, how do we want to, what kind of end product do we want? Do we want like a little GUI, like on like Mac desktop
Yeah,
or something
I was
that we can
thinking.
just check mark? Essentially the reminders app almost.
Yeah, I was thinking chunking stuff. So like, because you need to have an understanding of what you're doing to some extent. It's like no matter how good AI gets, you're not going to be able to just not know anything. At least not in our lifetime. I think that's very unlikely. So I think chunking is the best way. First, start out with like a front end, and then we could have a database that like saves between sessions with just the front end. And then we can add in server side stuff and then connect those two using AI to like greatly simplify the task. But once you add servers, there's like a whole list of things that can go wrong. Like AI can give you like the wrong version of code for a certain thing and that can mess everything up and you won't understand the error messages. Like there's all kinds of things that could go wrong. So I think tackling one thing at a time is very important. So React app on the front end with using local storage as a database that just saves the notes. I think that's a good start.
So the first thing then, so we're just doing React front end and local database.
Yeah.
When you did this in your little test run, did you build this? What was your database choice? Actually, you know what? Let's actually start right there. So I want to build a small to-do
So
and reminder app
definition
on my
database. I'm
Mac.
talking about the place where you store data. I'm not talking about a specific database technology like Postgres or anything like that. I'm talking about using local storage,
Sure,
which is just
sure.
a key like a JSON object that you could store in the browser and using that as a database. There's no
Okay.
specific database to use on a front end.
Okay. So this is interesting actually, because I think about it, like I use Obsidian a lot, which is a markdown notes app. And I realized that like I could swap out that like a JSON thing like that and just use it entirely in markdown. And I can actually have it update with my Obsidian notes. Probably. Without even having to plug it into Obsidian. Anyway, getting ahead of myself. Want to do whoops. React front end and a
I'd recommend staying away
I'm not
from
gonna
the local
say
database
like
language. I think it's very likely if you
okay.
just say you want to build something like that and then say you want to store it, the notes between sessions, that would almost certainly be enough for the
Yeah.
GPT to make a connection
Not
between
programming
local
language.
storage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see what they got. I want to build a small to-do app and reminder app in my Mac. React front end and store the notes or items locally on my Mac. How would I best go about this? All right. Install Node.js and npm. React requires Node.js. You can download and install it from blah, blah, blah. Install React using create React app to bootstrap your React front end in your terminal. Run npx create React blah, blah, blah. Text editor, build a React front end, local storage, local data storage.
So for the
IndexedDB.
record, if
Okay.
for
So,
anyone watching the Mac, this is substantially simpler. If you're running Windows or in Linux and Mac are very similar in how they operate with this. Windows is a bit more complicated. Um, these steps won't help you with that.
gotcha. So, as someone who has done a dry run on this, and you see these steps, so we got 9 steps here. Install Node.js, React, have a text editor, build React front end with a couple of different components, state management, the style, blah, blah, blah. Then local data storage, local storage, IndexedDB, and Electron, more desktop app-like experience. Interesting. And then reminder functionality, testing and debugging. Do you see anything specifically out of this that feels unnecessary, or where you're like, no, I don't need that step, or you would
Electron,
change some step in this?
Electron.
Yeah.
I wouldn't use that. Other than that, like I don't understand why it would bring up we're looking at this from a beginner programmer perspective. When it brings up
Mm-hmm.
Electron, I don't think in order to understand Electron's relationship to React and actually meaningfully be able to build a React app and move it into Electron and like know what you're doing and not get completely screwed over when you get lost requires a lot of like specialized understanding. I wouldn't use React at all or Electron at all to begin with. I would ignore that. And then I would probably duplicate the tab and I'd have one tab would just be the specific prompt and response. And then another tab I would just be going through line by line of the overall abstract outline it's given and ask more questions. So like it says install npm and node on your machine and then run npx create
Mm-hmm.
react app. All those commands, that's all good. And then it says
Mm-hmm.
create components. Um, so if this actually also leads into one of the shortcomings of AI programming. If your end all be all
Mm-hmm.
to this is just notes, you could just put the components in the src folder that create react app would create.
Yeah.
But if this is the starting point for a bigger thing and you have no idea what you're doing, following these steps exactly is going to lead you to a very, very bad spot to build a bigger project because AI still isn't at a point where it can have any real
Okay.
understanding of technical debt, which is a
Yeah.
huge part of planning, as I'm sure you've figured out.
It doesn't
at
really
this
have like
point.
a broader picture of what's going on. Obviously, it's doing micro connections from immediately what we just talked about to what the next step would be.
Yeah. And in order to use
Um,
AI to build out those more complicated things, you already need to have an understanding
mhm,
and have a blueprint in your mind, and then just know exactly what little parts you need it to build. It can't really think on its own in that capacity.
mhm,
Um, so that's why I think, like again,
mhm,
starting with this particular environment in a particular language in a particular scope with AI will help you because you do need to understand what you're doing. There's really no getting around that.
mhm,
But back to what I was saying before, uh, the step one is all good, and then step two, I would ask uh to give me code for the to-do list. Like it says, step two, building the React front end components, create components for a to-do list, such as to-do list, to-do item, add to-do, and reminder.
mhm.
I would ask it to give me the code for one of those components.
Okay. All right. Well, let me do the first part then.
Yeah.
Um,
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
uh, npx create. I think I have
You definitely have all
Node.js.
this. You've run pair drive on this
Wouldn't this
machine, right?
be? Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely have this then.
Well, should I go through the process anyway, just for
Oh, yeah,
the
that
sake of the
makes
video?
sense. Yeah,
Why not, right? LTS or current? What you think? Recommended
I
for
would go
most
with
users?
LTS always.
Continue, install. I agree. I read the whole thing. It's
Hmm?
very in depth, and this isn't going to show me. Okay, good. I read that lengthy contract. Terms and agreement. Okay. That's interesting. I wondered if it would tell me. I probably just installed it at a second time to a different location somehow. That's what I did with Python. I
Yeah, I
have
hope it
Python in
didn't
so many
break
different
anything.
places, and I keep installing it in like different Docker things. Now, what my pair drive's not going to work. Um, okay, so we've got that. Install React. This I don't know. Use create React app to bootstrap your React front end in your terminal.
Create React
So
app is a command.
is that actually installing?
That
I was about to
builds,
say, what is
so
that?
with NPM, there's this thing
Install.
called
Okay.
node modules, and when
I'm just
you
gonna see what it says.
install, oh yeah, we could see.
Mm-hmm.
These kinds of questions generally, I haven't seen them have good answers.
Mm-hmm. Install Node.js and npm. And I obviously have npm, but I guess I would do brew install npm, or what do I do to check whether or not I need to update it? Or would I have done
npm-v.
this with brew?
Oh, it says
Okay,
that right.
npm-v. Let's say I don't have npm. Would that be
You
something
would just
Homebrew
go
would
to
install?
Node.js's
Or I
website,
could install with Homebrew?
potentially.
Okay.
I've just gone to the
Yeah, I could do it.
Node.js website.
Okay.
NPM, NPX, and Node are go hand in hand.
This is an
I
odd
don't think you could
answer.
have one without the others.
Gotcha. Okay.
NPM is just Node Package Manager.
Okay. Okay, so this is just like a whole bunch of like kind of unnecessary and repetitive to what, for something that's trying to be like real good on like resources, because I gave it like 100 items or whatever to make as a HTML list the other day, and it gave me like 5 of them and then said, now do this with the rest of them. And I was like, I don't want to do it with the rest of them. That's why I asked you to do it.
That's what
And
I'm
I
saying.
kept getting it to do them at like 5 at a time, and until I can't even remember what I did. I said, please stop truncating this and just give me the whole list. But then like I'll ask like a simple question, and rather than just clarifying, it gives me like 18 steps and this half of 2 pages worth of explanation on all of this. So okay, I'm gonna just do this on desktop.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
AI can help you write blocks of code for you,
Mm-hmm.
so long as you know what those blocks of code are gonna say. Pretty much. That's
Yeah, and it does decent at being able to work out, but you're probably gonna have a lot of unnecessary stuff if you like 100% follow. And it'll work probably. Most
it can
likely, at
give you a
least that's
good
what
starting
I run
point.
into with the stuff that I've built so far. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, create React app. You were asking about installing. So when you install when you install npm projects, what that means is there's this folder. Like if you run this right now, it'll create a little boilerplate for you. If you haven't done that. Yeah. I would just
Okay.
copy
Let's
paste
do
those.
ow. Let's give that a shot.
Use a text editor like Visual Studio Code.
Error.
Really? npm install npx?
Sudo
That might
change.
work. I can't see your terminal, so.
Oh, you can't? Oh,
No.
crap. I'm sharing Brave, not my screen. That's why. All right, so here's the terminal. So I just went to desktop, and then npx create react app, my to do app, cd, npm start. This is what it gave me.
Oh, you're in a protected folder.
Install.
You gotta sudo it.
Well, let's see. Okay, so I'm in a protected folder. So what would that mean that I needed to do? I just need to go to.
It actually
Do I need
gives
to
you the
sudo or
commands.
something, or?
Well, it depends. You can sudo it. There's also it gave you a command to change ownership, so you don't
sudo.
have to sudo. I'd recommend changing ownership so you don't have to sudo on desktop. But I also don't know
Okay.
your setup or why you have it like that in the first place, so I could be wrong about that. Like, yeah, you
Gotcha.
could do that.
Let's see what.
Oh, it's npm that's
I tried
sudo.
to run the initial. It's npm, yeah. I just saw that too. Initial code. And it returned these errors. All right, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to enter the code as well that I tried to run. Let's see what it gives as an answer. Assuming I can't read any of that, even though some of it's kind of explicit. It's a common issue on system where npm commands have run with sudo in the past, resulting in some files being owned by the root user. To resolve this, you can follow the steps, change ownership of the npm cache directory.
Hey, it gave you the
.npm.
exact right code.
So, oops, copy. Change ownership, clear the npm cache, optional. We'll do it. Update npm, optional.
And so
All right,
now
thanks for
try.
fixing.
You can
Create
just
your
press
React app
up.
again. Oh, that's right. Thank you.
Now this should work.
Need to install the following packages.
Yes.
Well, that's a whole lot less errors than last time.
Yep.
Create React app at 5.0.1. So it just did that automatically with npm. Or Node.js, excuse me. Okay.
Yeah, no, npm installed that. The Node package manager.
My to-do app. That's a terrible name. I'm gonna change that later. All right. Installing. All right, nvm. Let's see what else it has going here. Avoid using sudo with npm. Thanks. That's what I just did. Oh no, I guess I just changed the folder. So technically not. Terminal wants to control Google Chrome.
Yeah, it's gonna open up. It's gonna open up your It's gonna open up a tab for your local. Yeah.
That makes sense. Okay, yeah.
Oh, create React app uses web. Can you open it in Visual Studio Code? So go to the terminal.
Dumb that
Control
down a bit.
C.
Yeah.
Control C.
Yep. Close it.
Code space dot.
Code.
Space dot. Code. Yeah. And then space dot. Yeah, and then
Mhm.
just enter.
That's it?
Which is something that, yeah, anyone watching, you're gonna get used to doing that. Oh, you don't have VS Code? Oh, shit. Open space dot?
That's probably why then. Yeah. Open.
And then, can you
Wait.
open this in VS Code?
What am I doing? This is new to me. I'm doing what with it?
Can you press back
Because
once to go?
it just opened me a Finder.
Yeah, that's what open does.
Back to what?
Oh, it doesn't. Fuck.
That's
CD
so
dot
funny.
dot.
I've always done open dash a Finder whenever I wanted to do something like that. I didn't know you could just do open.
Yeah,
Say
that's
again.
why I
CD
like
dot dot.
Mac. And then open dot, or
Dot.
yeah. And then right click my to do app and then open with, I think you could open with VS Code, right? No?
No, because
Shit.
again, I don't think I have VS Code. And then
You don't
in
have VS
addition, this
Code?
is just going to show up as a folder right now.
Oh,
No,
we need to get VS Code.
no, I'm not even sure. I'm not even sure what that is. Okay, how do I get VS Code?
Look
All
up
right, well,
Visual Studio
Hold on a
Code.
second. How do we? What should I do with? What is VS Code going to get me, and how do I do this
It's a
with
text editor
AI in the
that,
sense that?
yeah,
Okay,
ChatGPT
so
did reference VS Code in its response. If you see scroll up, Visual Studio
mhm.
Code is what it said, I believe. Oh yeah, that's a language. People usually just say VS Code.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, so development tools. Okay, so yes, I have Sublime Text, Cot Editor, Script Editor. Okay, so Visual Studio Code is just one of those. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, I was not putting two and two together.
See, that's what I mean. Things
So
that
should
I
I
take for
open
granted.
this?
Yeah. I mean, if you have another text editor you want to use, VS Code is just the most used one.
This
Text
one
edit
is the
would be
one that I
annoying.
have enjoyed. And I assume this one will mostly do whatever. Like, there's probably not something
I don't. So the
super
reason why
special
VS
different.
Code is so awesome is because it has a lot of extensions that help with React. It has terminal built in on the bottom that you could split and do a whole bunch of things with.
Okay,
Syntax
fun.
highlighting. It has a lot of bunch.
Yes, Script Editor
stuff.
has that, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, but that only lets me do Apple Script. So let's do the App Store. Can I get it through the App Store, or should I just
I'm not
install it a
sure.
different way?
I have never tried.
Visual Studio Code. Clone in VS Code. Doesn't look like it.
Hold on.
Nope. Yep.
Yeah, there used to be a whole bunch of things that people used for text editors, but if you download VS Code and use it,
We're
you'll see
downloading
why
this.
no one uses anything else. Just
right.
go here. Oh, you already got it. Okay.
Go. Oh, yeah. All right. Visual Studio Code. Let's open it up. Yep. All right. So should the code dot now work? Dark.
But you might have to
Yes,
restart
yes.
the shell or the terminal, but yeah, it
Okay, yeah.
should
Yeah,
work.
I guess so, because I just installed it. Source control. Run and debug. Extensions. Oh, this is going to be neat. And there's tabs.
Oh, there's all kinds of
All right.
stuff. There's also GitHub Copilot integrated with VS Code, which is huge.
Integrated. Oh my God, that's great. Because that
Yeah,
probably
you know
means
how
I can just
autocomplete,
do the
it's like
streaming code
autocomplete, but
stuff
instead
and
of a normal
plug it
autocomplete
right
where it
into
completes the word, it's just GitHub Copilot always running.
complete code.
Yeah, and then at any
That's
point you just press
awesome.
tab and whatever it has, it will put in. It's really cool. So
Okay, then.
go
I
open,
am
or not the
cd
command,
this.
but
Mm-hmm.
cd my
Code
to do app.
dot. Oh yeah.
No, c or code my to do app, either one. Yeah, do that and then
I'll do
code
it
dot.
from in here since that's where we started.
Yeah, see, it didn't add the
Do I
path.
have to install it via terminal? Oh man, am I
ChatGPT.
gonna have to like
Ask.
manually add the path?
I would ask
Okay. Okay.
ChatGPT. You don't have to. You could also from
All
VS
right. Let's
Code just
assume I
open.
followed. Yeah. Let's just see. Okay. Maybe we'll just do it from the GUI then. Let's just do it. Let's just do it that way. We're going to. You have not yet opened a folder. We'll close all current open editors. Keep installed. Add a folder instead. Huh? Don't trust. Yes. I guess I trust the authors. I trust the authors.
Yeah.
All files in the parent folder. Yes. I believe I am. Okay.
Okay,
All
so
right. So now we have Visual Studio Code.
now to
We have our
answer the
My To
question
Do
about
app, and we
installing
have it open.
that node modules
Mm-hmm.
folder, when you install a React app, that node modules folder is where all the installation goes. So it's not like you're not installing anything in your operating system, you're just downloading files that are part of the build.
So you're saying that this will kind of load everything locally rather than install it on the operating system, sort of in a pseudo Docker like
Yeah.
sense?
It's like it's similar to
Okay.
Python virtual environments. It's
Mm-hmm.
similar to that where it keeps like a local
The
installation.
the Vim.
Yeah, the VM. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Um. Okay. Okay. So we've created our To Do app, and we've created a React app, and we opened up a random thing that is sitting and spinning just like this. And we now have the Visual Studio as well. So what do we do now? Building the React front end. Components.
Yeah.
Create. Yeah, this is usually for writing code. Create components for your to-do list, such as to-do list, to-do item, add to-do, and reminder. Use React's use state for context API. All right.
I would start with just asking
want
it to give you the code for one of the components, the to-do list component.
Okay. Give me the code for the to-do list item for the front end. To-do item and to-do list. Basic structure for displaying a list of to-do items and marking them as completed. Represents a single to-do item. Function to-do item. To-do list component. This component renders a list of to-do item components. Import to-do item from dot to-do item. Blah, blah, blah. Using the components.
So it's very common with AI when you ask it to do certain things and it gives you multiple of these.
Mm-hmm.
These you probably want to put all those different blocks in separate files.
Okay.
Because you asked it to give you the to-do list component, and the to-do list component utilizes other subcomponents. So if you scroll back up and you look at
To do
the first
item and
yeah. So you want to look at the top of each of these blocks, has import statements, that's a strong
Mm-hmm.
indicator that it wants each of these to be its own
It needs
file.
its own file.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
would
So where
put
would I put
I
these
would
files? Okay.
src.
Well, hold on a second. Let's say, here's an example how you might use these components in your app. Let's see what it says first. Represents a single to-do item, renders a list, holds the state for all to-do items, toggle completes a function that toggles. You can further style these components using CSS to add more functionality, like adding new to-do items and deleting them. This code provides basic structure. Okay.
AI ChatGPT will generally assume that you know how
I
to put these things
made
in your
each
project.
of these, yeah, a different file. Where would I place them so they work together? Let's just see if it understands my terminology and everything
It
there.
might have a hard
It's
time.
common.
It's about how you name them more than where you place them.
Yeah. It maintains a clear
Hey,
hierarchy for your to-do app, separate files for each component, section structure, source, components, to-do list, to-do item.js. Okay. Well, that answers a potential question too, is how do I save these things? I want to save them as .js. Of course, that might happen automatically if I just select a file. Would it not? Would it assume
I'm not
that?
sure.
Public.
I would just right click on the
All right,
folder.
so,
I would right click on src and just new folder,
and then do new file.
components, new folder, new
Oh
folder.
wait, excuse me. That's right.
You could also do new file and then components slash. Yeah, I would recommend not doing uppercase just for conventions. Most people don't do that,
Okay.
so when you get
Well, let's assume I'm
yeah,
following
it's
its
the
instructions
reason
to the
why it's
T.
important to follow conventions to the best of your knowledge when you're working with AI is because AI is trained off of code that mostly follows
I
those
lost you.
conventions. So if you stray away from conventions in the beginning, that's going to make it less and less likely that you get relevant things in the long run. To do item.js.
All right. Oh, yes. All right. Now I'm going to do another new file, and this is to-do list. New file, to-do list.js. Copy. This show is brought to you by the Cold Card hardware wallet. My favorite setup, which I know I talk about a lot, is the Nunchuck wallet on mobile that just connects directly to or just talks NFC whenever I need to sign. The Nunchuck does not hold my keys. It is securely on my Cold Card, not connected to the internet, not vulnerable to a phishing email or any malware or anything like that. If I ever need to send a transaction, I just create the transaction on my Nunchuck wallet, and I tap it to my Cold Card, I hit sign, I tap it again, and then off it goes. There is no easier interface and way of interacting that grants a higher level of security, in my opinion, than that right there. It's genuinely incredible to me that we even have this capability in the Bitcoin space. And CoinKite has just made an entire suite of fascinating security and just fun Bitcoin devices and hardware products, like the block clock. Just connect it to your node and have it show the Bitcoin price, have it show the block height, just right there on your desk in this really cool package. If you haven't checked out what they have to offer, you definitely need to. And don't, when you go over there, do not forget that I have a 9% discount code. Bitcoin Audible, all one word, gets you 9% off. And you can go through the link in the show notes or just remember the discount code, which is not hard. It's just the name of the show. You can go through the link in the show notes to go right there, or just go to the store, browse around, see what you want, get yourself a solid hardware wallet, experience the tap to send with a Cold Card hardware wallet. It's just kind of magical. And get notified for the Q1. I'm really stoked about my Cypherpunk BlackBerry, the new model that's going to be coming out. So check that out as well. Yeah, don't forget, 9% off. The link is right in the show notes. Go check them out. here's an example of how you might use these components in your app. So, app index package.json, explanation of the structure, how they work together. This component will import to do item, and use it to render each thing. App.js. This is your main application component. So is that what it's saying? Is that this JavaScript here? Import React, use state from React, import to-do list from /to-do list. So that makes me think it wants to be in the same list under components.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it thinks it's in the same folder. So what would this component be called? So I'm gonna copy this code.
Oh, that is a contradiction you found. No, that's the app.tsx.
So that is the app. Okay, because I kind of
Yeah.
thought that might be what it was.
So you want to update the import. You want to update
where it imports
that's
from.
the yeah.
So it'll be /components.
Yeah.
/ to-do list, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So does app.js have anything?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. It was
Function.
app.js, not app.tsx. Yeah. So import to-do list.
So does this all stay right where it is? Nothing changes here, or should I delete all
I'd
this?
I'd go to the end of line 2 and press enter. Yeah, and then go to
and then paste.
Import yes.
Do list items, and then I'm going to change this. This is one thing, just for anybody watching, this is something that I find more than anything else is locations need to change. Like, it doesn't have any idea of like what the structure is on your computer, and it doesn't know what it's looking at. And I can't tell you how many times I will even tell it what I think the relevant structure is, and it still just points to the wrong thing or the wrong folder. Like these two apps down here, the new project, my workflows for making AI Unchained and a Bitcoin Audible episode. That was the biggest thing, is the variables weren't named consistently because I pieced it together. And somehow, I guess if my conversation got too long, maybe it was like truncating things and not remembering the variables right. So it would just kind of like guess as to what the variable was. So like one of them would be like destination MD folder is the variable. And then by the time I got to the end of it, it was just calling it destination folder. And I had to go in and look for it as it got kind of like more elaborate. I had to go in and look and figure out that mismatch was happening, which is why it wasn't, coming up with, it wasn't putting things in the right folder. Okay, cool. So it automatically knows my structure.
Yes. You have two function you see line 33 down. Just get rid of that app.
Yeah, that's the old one. Is there any
line
reason I need this?
33 down to the end. Now delete all of that.
Okay. Yeah. So this is the pretend app that it just made. That's sitting
this is the create React app
right?
default. Yeah, and we're just deleting that.
Okay. Whoops. All right.
And then you want to save all these.
Now I have components.
Yeah, I'd Command S on all these files.
Okay. On each one?
Save all. Yeah, you can also do save all. So you see in the text
that's interesting. So this is kind of like a miniature file system, and I'm saving them one at a time.
Mouse. Do you see the dots on the tabs? Those big white dots on the nope, to the right. To the right.
Yes, those where the X shows up.
Those means that the dots mean that there's unsaved changes.
Unsaved.
Yeah, and you want to save those before you run
so I'm going to do Shift Command S, and is this going to ask me individually app.js and then to do item and then blah blah blah?
I have no idea.
Let's see.
I usually just reflexively Command S.
I'm going to replace it. Command S, Command S. Okay, so I still had to do, even when I hit Shift Command S, I still had to do each one.
There might be a
And I
different
just had to overwrite
key.
app.js because it was already there.
So
Say again.
now we should be able to just run this. I don't think it's still running. I think if you refresh localhost 3000, it's not going to do anything because we stopped. So
I was about to say we changed stuff, so
I would just do
yeah.
code. Yeah, I would do code dot
Code space.
again. Or no. I'm sorry. npm
Command
run
not
start.
found code.
npm run start.
All right, actually, again, we're getting away from ChatGPT. Let's see. So, example,
Are we?
import
It
to-do list
gave
from
us everything.
to-do list. No, I know. I just want to ask it how to start it.
Oh, good idea.
I have created the separate components and updated the app.js. How do I run this app and see what it does? I have to keep pretending that you don't know the answer to these. See it in action. Ooh, we're going slow right now. This thing's freaking out.
You asked it the most like
conversation's
philosophical
getting really
question
long.
it's ever heard, and it's like, how do I run a React app?
CD. Oh god, this is npm start. Shouldn't it be npm run start, or will npm start run it too?
There's also yarn start, because yarn is also a
Yeah.
commonly used replacement for npm. I don't think npm start works. I don't think.
Let's
I've
try.
also. Oh, it does
Oh.
work.
Oh, it does.
Let's
It's not
go.
very pretty.
So now we need an
And
input form. I have never tried to do CSS with AI. I wonder what would
with
happen if you asked
chat
it to make it.
GPT.
How do I make it look pretty or something?
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's it. Okay, so I can just. These are my to-do items. Wait, I didn't even see that. Where was the? This is what happens when you have something else write your code for you. Is it just shows up and you're like, I don't even know what these pieces are. Where's my Visual Studio? Oh, I'm an idiot. Okay. Okay, yeah. So here are my two to-do items: is learn React and build a to-do app. Wow, that's amazing. So right now I have two different items, and I can just click and make them undone or done.
So with AI, it's super important to do one thing at a time. So now I think the next thing we'd want to do is add a form that would let us add more to-do items.
So the next step, I assume what you just said, which
The
will
next
show up
step
in the video that recorded, but
it's very important that you
is
ask
create a way to
AI
input.
to do one thing at a time. And so the
Yeah.
next thing I would do is say, the prompt I would give it is, can you give me a form to add more to-do items?
Simple form to add to-do items and a button with a
That's implied with form. Oh, but you maybe adding.
Oh, it's just gonna give me a button with a plus
Yeah.
symbol. Well, I'll be specific. To on the main. So basically, I would attack this like every single like little feature or addition I would want in the form. I just ask like, now can you give me a to-do date? And with the to-do date, can you set me a reminder on my calendar
The reminders
or whatever it is, and
that's a whole
thing into itself.
That's a whole separate can of worms. We're trying to get the to-do list working right now.
Yeah.
And it's giving basic
Just
styling.
talking about thinking about the path.
Yeah.
Oh, pretty. I like it. I
I
can tell
think
this is
so.
going to be pretty because I don't know what any of this is.
um, I think I
Oh.
would also ask it. It said it put it directly in app.js. I
Hmm.
would ask it to put that component in its own file. Can you
Okay.
put the new to do form in its own file?
The new
New to do form component.
form.
I would say the word component. That's a keyword. No, new to do form component in its own file. Yeah. I feel
I love
very
when I spell
strongly
stuff wrong and it still knows
Chat
exactly what
GPT
I'm going to
probably.
do.
Yeah.
That's probably a really good. That's probably a really good lesson or frame to have for any of this, just because the less you have in any individual file, the more likely ChatGPT is going to give you a better result. You know, the smaller and more succinct you can make every individual piece of it, the less likely things are going to conflict with each other. You know, if one piece of this thing has like 500 lines of code, it's just not going to do well.
Mm-hmm. All the worst kind of
Okay.
bugs stem from trying to make one thing do two things.
Do too
So,
much. Yeah.
yeah,
to do two things. One thing does one thing.
exactly.
Create the to-do form component. Okay, so this is my to-do form. Let's go back to it. You were right, by the way. I can't believe I haven't been using Visual Studio. To do form.js.
And then just paste.
All right, and save. Man, programming is difficult.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and it gave you the
Can't believe
update
I'm a
to
programmer now.
app.js.
Yes, it did. Yes, it is. So how do I update this? So now I need to. So this is the new line that it's going to add, and
And it
then
kept the context of
so
the other
this was
stuff.
the same as before. Date to. All right, let's look at this. Let's compare this to what I already have right now, so that we can see what's
It
changed.
added the to-do list component in the render.
Mm-hmm.
So
But it doesn't have the constant toggle. It's missing the other stuff that it added.
it put it in the to-do form. Do you want me to explain the changes? I can do that. You have the
Yes, that would be great.
yeah. So can you move? Yeah.
I'm gonna put these next to each
So
other.
the toggle complete function updates the to-dos with the new to-do. Um, that just changed
Okay.
to add to-do.
Toggle complete.
Toggle complete changed to
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. Toggle complete is gone.
It says
Is
is completed
completed
false.
is its
To-do
own.
list. Function app constant to-dos set to-dos. It may have accidentally. All right, how about this? I'm gonna save
Wait.
this.
Scroll down more. I wonder if it changed other stuff as well. No. Okay. So yeah,
Rendering.
this would be a breaking change.
Maybe it tells us how to deal with this. Add in your import the to-do form component and use it. To-do
I'd
form.
recommend just doing
So I
exactly what
think
it said,
this is
and then
suggesting.
once you do exactly what it said, just it's gonna give you an error, and then try pasting the error and seeing if it figures it out.
I wonder if, because this doesn't say replace what's in my app.js. It says import to do form, the to do form, and use it.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm wondering if it's wanting me to do this. Is there a reason, like would both of these functions, like function app, they're going to conflict, right? The fact
So
that these are the same.
if you want to combine these things, what I would do is I would look at what ChatGPT just gave you, and I would look at what you have and see
Mm-hmm.
what did it add that is not currently there, and that's probably what's necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So if you see it said to dos set to dos equals use state empty array,
That's the
That
same.
makes sense
Yeah.
because you don't need placeholders anymore now that you can add them. And then add to do is a
Hmm.
function that you need to pass to the form.
So that's
So
all
I would,
unnecessary.
yeah, you could take that out,
So,
and then I would put
all
const
right,
add to do. I would put that, and then I would keep toggle
that, and
complete.
then to-do list items are still there. And so it adds to-do form in the return because that's not there.
Yeah.
And it adds import to-do form at the beginning. And then in the function, this is the same. And then I add this maybe above the toggle complete.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's try that.
So do you understand why
Uh,
it's very hard for programmers to take seriously the idea that this thing is taking your job in a year? I mean, it
yes,
could
yes,
happen, I
because
guess,
you
but
still need to know. All right, let's say since we know what to do, probably to get this working right, let me replace what I did. Let me replace what I did before. And I'm just going to copy all of this and I'm going to stick it right in here. I'm going to, this is also something, there's a shortcut for it. And how do you comment stuff out in this?
uh Command Shift A.
Command
I
Shift A.
would just
Okay.
do I would just do Command Shift A. Yeah.
Oops.
What?
That is not working.
Option Shift A?
Toggle line.
Oh.
Mine is command
Block comment?
slash
I would do block comment.
backslash. There we go.
Oh.
All right.
Hey, here.
So this is this is really useful. I have found this to be just for the people who are exploring this for the first time. Is I never delete the old version because I always assume something's going to go wrong. The number of times that I've fed ChatGPT the same crap that I've been working on over and over again. So I comment out the last version of it entirely, and then replace it, and then put in a new version. Okay, no, that was right. I thought
Yeah, you could
letters were
collapse
gone. Do you see
things.
that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that when we do go back and fix this, obviously I don't have to scroll through and find the stuff again, and I can just highlight and select and say, this is what I had before and this is what I have now. What's wrong with this? All right. So I'm going to save this and then run it again. And it's going to break, or it's going to be weird.
Nope. Then just type something.
Remind me of something.
And then I was looking at this code. This should work. Yeah.
There.
Ooh.
This is the one that, remember,
Yeah,
the
because you took
toggle
out
complete is
toggle
gone
complete.
now.
Yeah.
Type error, toggle complete is not a function. Okay, so I'm going to say exactly what I did. I replaced the old app.js with the new one from above, and it gave me this error. What do I do to fix it?
What did I do to deserve this? I wonder
What
what it
did
would
you
say.
do to me? My to-do app is real stinky. Toggle complete not a function. This toggle complete is not defined or not correctly passed. Okay. That's a good guess, buddy. I had to do toggle complete. It adds it back in. Return to-do form and to-do list. And toggle complete. All right. I am not going to go back. I'm just going to copy and paste this whole thing. And we're going to do, whoops. Oh, woo. That's the wrong thing. V2. V3. And then I'm going to Apple comment. This app's getting really big now. And I'm going to paste, and I'm going to command save. Did that just refresh without me doing anything?
Yeah.
Remind me.
I believe there is live
Plus.
reloading.
And the toggle works. There we go. I want to hit space. I want like a circle with a button and a selection. Okay, well now let's do the CSS thing. I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna be nice. I'm gonna be nice to my AI. That worked. Thank you.
The CSS is what I'm interested in because I don't.
Yeah.
I've never even thought to try asking ChatGPT to give me a design.
You're welcome. I'm glad to hear it worked. You always be nice to your ChatGPT, man. One day it's gonna control everything, and it's gonna be, if you're not nice to it, it's gonna kick your ass. No, I actually think there's actually logic. As stupid as that seems, there's actually logic to being nice to it, is because these things are trained on actual conversations and actual responses online. Like, these are human conversations. And if you are nice, like, I highly suspect that, or it just makes logical sense that it's going to more like, it's like being extremely specific, like saying that you're an expert in blah, blah, blah. And, you know, you're more likely to get slightly more detailed answers from that speciality. In that same way, if you're nice, then you're more likely to get the responses from the conversations where people had success and where people were actually nice and gave constructive feedback. Whereas if you say you're a stupid bitch, it's more likely to pull some dumb comment from Twitter.
It's possible.
Or a meme.
I think there's a layer of abstraction with sentiment analysis, though. I don't think the way that you ask it a question is
probably.
like what is like the baseline, what it's responding to. I think it probably extracts the sentiment.
I can't imagine it totally hides it away. I can't imagine it totally works.
Yeah,
but you're probably right.
What the reason why I think that is because try to get it to say something fucking horrible about you and your family. It's really hard to do that. I'd say it's probably impossible, and I think the only way they could do that is if they made it like really did everything they could to strip away all sentiment. Because like this thing was trained on the internet. You can't scroll through the internet for any length of time without seeing at least like 10 death threats. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Can you give me... Okay, right now it looks extremely antiquated, has no aesthetically pleasing design. Can you give me a simple, minimalist, and dark mode? Let's do that. Dark mode style. Let's assume I don't know it's CSS.
Ask it for wait, we'll try that next. I just got a good idea though.
To give me a clean feeling style. Let's be abstract.
I would recommend mentioning CSS in the prompts, but we'll see. It might give you a good enough answer there.
I want to see what it does if I don't know that it's CSS that we're going
The
after.
thing is, there's a lot of options. It doesn't have to use CSS. Oh, okay, cool. There's other like more complicated.
Add this to your apps.css. Body color, FFF. Going dark, baby. Padding, la la la. This is cool too, because like if you have like a text that you want to use, like let's say you have like a branding sheet for something and you know what the text is, like you should go through and find it, or you ask it to update all your styling with this text, or and this is also where screenshot to code, dude. This is, I still can't figure out how to utilize this. I think I have to pay for both my API, and then also I have to pay for this service to do code generations for $15. I don't know. I'm gonna throw a bunch of money at like a bunch of different services and stick it all together.
I question if this is worth it. It says that
I can drag and drop a screenshot, and then it will write React code to recreate it. I mean, obviously it won't plug in to everything. I'll still have to like plug it in on the back end, but I might be able to do a.
Yeah, that's the thing is I think
I'm
that
gonna try
that's
it.
a much bigger task.
I will
I'm
find
not
out if
saying
it's
don't
worth it.
try it. I'm just saying this
Yeah,
comes.
I'm gonna
I'm
try it,
skeptical
bitch.
of it.
You shut your mouth.
Well, I think it's fucking
Where
stupid.
did I
I
go?
don't know
Okay,
what I'm
here.
talking about, but that
I
doesn't
think
matter.
you're an idiot. Welcome to Twitter. Body, set the explanation, list to do items. Okay, sure. Make sure that the CSS. Okay, that's great. It's telling me that I have to make sure that I actually add that into my thing.
Did you see that
Rest
thing
of your
on
imports.
Twitter where someone commented on some MMA fighter's picture like you look like shit, I would beat the shit out of you or something, and then the MMA fighter replied, would you say this to me in real life? And then he said, no, that's why I said it on Twitter.
Hashtag winning.
Exactly.
Body. Does this have anything here? All right. So your take on this is there? This says I'm doing this in my app.css. Should I change any of the stuff that's already there? Because it still says app header, app link,
Everything
with a
there.
color and keyframes, or should
Can
I
you
just
go to
add it at the bottom?
app.js? Put your mouse on the tab where it says app.js.
Are you talking about the tab?
Yes.
Like the tab item?
Click and hold. Now drag it.
Okay.
Down and then
where?
like that, right there.
Like
nope,
that?
nope.
Okay.
If you drag and then you see that white translucent thing, you want that white translucent thing to cover half the screen, and then let go. I don't know how else to describe it.
Oh, I'm splitting the screen.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Gotcha.
So
yeah,
I
PopOS
want to
does
see.
this. I didn't know what you were getting at. Okay.
Could you scroll
Alright, so
down on
let's get-
app.js?
Yeah. Oops.
Yeah, get rid of all of that, I'd say.
So
Get
we've
rid of
got
all the CSS.
H1. Yeah, I don't think none of this is even being used.
No. Which is unsurprising.
Okay. All right, so I'm just
It
going to
looks
replace.
basic.
I'm going to entirely replace this and this. Maybe just for fun, just because this is my process. I'm going to comment it out. And then I'm going to paste this. And I'm going to Command S and save it. And Command S, that's saved already. Wow. That looks great. Look at our to-do list, buddy.
I am very surprised.
Hope
Oh, shit.
Wins the AI Unchained, I don't know, something.
Nobel
prize.
Peace Prize.
Boom. Boom. Don't remind me.
Hell yeah.
Boom. Wow, this is actually pretty slick. I'm gonna keep playing with this. We have a to-do app.
And then
I didn't do
we
anything.
can keep trying to iterate, but like to give you a
we
sense
could iterate
of
and add
scope,
things like crazy.
if we were
Yeah.
trying to do this process of like an AI consultant for everything to get to the scope of like where we have pair drive right now, it would be such an unbelievable mess. Like it's like building a tree. Like the foundations are all right, but as you keep going up and up, the lack of cohesion in the AI overall is just gonna get crazy.
Swan Bitcoin has the full suite of Bitcoin financial services. You can instantly buy, with your bank account or wire transfer, any amount of Bitcoin up to $10 million worth. And you can easily set up what I have been doing for ages, which is an automatic purchase of Bitcoin on a weekly or monthly basis. You just pick your time frame and then automatically withdraw it to your cold storage. And still they have free withdrawals to self-custody, which I was sure would be gone by now. But you should always treat any custodian as a point of failure. And luckily, you won't have to go anywhere for all of the information and advice you need for why you should withdraw and how to do it safely, because Swan Bitcoin has all of the resources you need and will regularly remind you. About 80% or more of their customers automatically withdraw their coins. That is an amazing feat, if you ask me. Then they also have the Swan IRA if you have a traditional IRA and you want to get it allocated to Bitcoin. And there's so much more. With Swan Private, they have inheritance planning. You also have Swan business accounts, and you can even do Bitcoin as a part of your employee benefit plans. They have an advisory. They have the Swan Vault, a multi-sig service for those who want to have the benefits of holding the majority of their keys, but still also want to be able to rely on a trusted institution in the case of an emergency or a disaster. If you haven't started into Bitcoin yet, Swan is an amazing place to begin. Go to swan.com/guy. The link will be right there in the description. Again, that is swan.com/guy. And they will know that I sent you, and my beautiful face will be right there at the top of the page to greet you. I am a longtime user myself, and a huge thank you to Swan for supporting this show, and I definitely recommend you check them out. The other thing I wanted to do was, I think I told you about this, Hope, was build a box organizer database, like kind of like this, or let's say I could be like Christmas box number 1, and then I could click on this as a link, and then it takes me to a page where I can take screenshots. I can take pictures and add it in, and it's basically like a folder with information, and it's got a notes app, or a note that I can edit, and then pictures of stuff, and then this has a link with localhost / Christmas box 01, and then that link I can put in a QR code, and we can stick it on the actual Christmas box, and then I can scan it with a phone camera, and then it takes me to this page so that I can look around and see what's in our storage boxes without actually having to open up the storage box. So like while all the stuff is stacked, I just have all the QR codes, and I can scan and look inside each of the boxes. Because as we were packing everything back up, because this is the universal problem that we have had for God knows how long, is that we just have this I have this wall of boxes in our storage corner, so to speak, and I just have to go and take the whole have to deconstruct the entire wall and open up all the boxes, and we're like looking for a stuffed animal or a pillow or something,
I don't know if you can create QR codes with JavaScript, but
I don't.
The QR
code isn't necessary.
I looked into it a little bit.
See, that's the thing is I don't have to do this with the QR code at all. This doesn't have to make the QR code, because the QR code is just a link. So I can just make a separate anything just to make, or I can just do, there's like a QR code maker that's like free, and I just use the link. So all this thing needs to have is the localhost :3000 Christmas box, or label them or whatever. So the QR code can be entirely separate from all of that. But yeah, that's pretty cool. We have a to-do app.
Now if you close it out and go back to localhost 3000,
I say we technically completed our task.
Well, we wanted to store it between sessions, which we haven't done that yet. So if you
that's right. There's no
click X storage, and then just do localhost 3000 again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
No, my to-do list. How can you remind me if you cannot keep it?
Fuck.
All right, I'm going to clean up our old versions. We're not done.
Yeah. It might just be one prompt away.
Now that I have a working version, all this history is useless.
Yes.
Command save.
And the fact that you waited till you have a working version puts you ahead of like 90% of actual programmers. All right. So the last network error? Oh shit.
How do I do this without having to regenerate? I don't want to regenerate.
I think you just lagged out.
Coding corner. Here we go. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I just
I would say we need to save the notes between sessions. How should we do that? That's exactly what I would say.
I'm going to pretend I didn't know that was necessary, and I'm going to say I refreshed the page and all my reminders are gone.
Fuck!
How
Exclamation
can
point.
I make them permanent? Do what?
I was gonna say fuck exclamation point. Like for the prompt.
Shit, what did you do? You made the stupidest app ever. All right, local storage. Constant. Okay, so this is a constant that's going to be in my add to do, save to dos. So this is changing the stuff that we already have in app.js, right?
This, yeah. It's just adding a line to the set to do for save to local storage, and it's giving you a function for save to local storage. And then the use effects,
Okay.
that should all work. You also need to import let's just deal with that error when it comes up. I would ignore everything else.
Import
You don't need
React,
fucking
import
cloud
to-do list,
solutions. That's
function.
crazy.
Okay. So this is just right in my local app.js. Constant toggle complete, constant add to do. All right, let's see what's different here between. How do I undouble?
You can move the tab back into the other row.
Ah.
Yes, you can bring that into the, yeah, like that. Yep.
Yeah, there we go. Let's get this out of the way too. All right. So the add to do says set to dos, and it says new to dos. So would this go inside the constant add to do right here, but then before set to dos?
What?
Do you think?
I'm sorry. I was
You
playing
see
with my
this
dog.
code?
What?
No. All right. So I'm going to add this into our thing.
The save
Function
to local
app.
storage is just a new thing. That's a new feature that needs to be added. And then the use effect.
Oh, new file?
Oh, no, not a new file. That's just a new block of
Not a new
code
file.
that you need to add.
Okay.
And then add to do, I would replace the old add to do with that new add to do. And oh yeah.
Okay. So all of this would be replaced with this one? Because it's missing is completed text. Oh wait,
So
no, it's
add
not.
to do,
It's making a new constant.
Yeah. And it's doing that because it needs
Okay, so
to
I just
put
need
it,
to replace it.
yeah. It needs to put it in the new to dos, and it needs to put it in local storage.
I'm just gonna copy this. Dang it. Why does it keep doing this? I'm using it too much. It's gonna ask me for more money. Who's a good puppy? Who's a good puppy?
Not him.
Bogart picked his head up. He's like, what? What, Daddy?
I'm a good boy.
You wanna come over here, buddy? We're getting our doggies on the camera. Come on over. Come here. Come here, Bubba. Whoa, this is making it much bigger now. Is it giving me the whole? Here's an updated version of your app.js with these changes. Okay, cool. So rather than telling me, it's trying to rewrite the entire app.js this time. That's funny. It gave me a completely different answer this time from the exact same thing. It's usually extremely consistent.
I think we should just try.
All right.
Oh, and it gave you how it works. Let's see.
Yeah. So I'm going to comment this out again. And I'm going to version 2. I'm going to paste. I'm going to save. I'm going to do this. Hi. Task 1. Task 2. Testy. Make testing task. All right, and then I'm gonna cancel. I'm gonna local host, and they're there. They're still there. I don't even know what it did.
It's saving in local storage.
No, I know, but I don't know where. Use state local storage dot get item. Is it just saving it like within the exact same, like what's the folder structure? Like where would I find it? Let me bring
Where would you
my
find where it's saving?
side
It's
pane
saving in
back.
the browser. It's saving
Is
in
it
the
just
browser.
saving it in the
Local storage? Local
So if I
storage
clear my
is
browser cache, this will be gone?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I would say at this point we succeeded in creating a permanent app. This is pretty cool. I say we did relatively successful on the first one. Lots of questions, took a lot longer than I thought. This is going to be hard to keep this up because I'm going to accidentally learn things that will screw up my context, my perspective. This is going to make it harder for people to follow as we
But
continue to do this.
if we can grow an
I'm
audience,
going to have to try really,
there
really
will-
hard to play dumb when I actually learn something and keep that perspective or whatever. So let's go ahead and stop this.
I've long lost that perspective, unfortunately.
All right. Well, then I say we are successal. We're an hour and 45 minutes into making
A 30-minute
a
project.
simple to-do app with a 30-minute project with entirely at least 95% ChatGPT and a little bit of hope correction. Yeah, success. Well done. Thank you, dude. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, that was fun. I'm sure we could do a lot more too.
We'll figure out what we're gonna do for the next one, and we'll catch you back here. Peace.